All right. All right. Good evening and welcome to the 2025 City Council Candidate Forum. My name is John Hall, and I serve as the President and CEO of the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be serving as the moderator tonight. Tonight we'll be featuring candidates running in the opposed races for City Council and Mayor that are on the ballot for Tuesday, November 4th. I want to extend a thank you to Sarah and her team here with the library for the use of this space, and to the Friends of the Library for the incredible tech upgrade that we've got courtesy of a local company in Mechdyne. As a reminder, tonight's event is being live streamed and will be available on demand following the event. Special recognition and acknowledgement to our friends at KFJB-TV for assisting us with the broadcast tonight. Before we get to the candidates, a little bit of housekeeping. Tonight's format will be as follows. Candidates will be given time for opening remarks, followed by questions that I will ask, rotating through who answers first, before giving everyone time for closing remarks at the end. Each candidate will have 60 seconds for each of these segments. Candidates, please note that the timer mechanism will be on this laptop here in front of you. When the circle appears green, you have 60 seconds. When it flashes to yellow, that will mark the 30-second mark. Red indicates 10 seconds left, and stop should hopefully be self-explanatory. We appreciate all candidates remaining respectful of each other's time and ask them to keep their responses within the allocated time. I do reserve the right to press for specifics from candidates during the questions. If vague statements are made, I will ask for clarification or for a brief follow-up regarding a specific point. I have a series of prepared questions for this evening's forum that only I have seen. However, to those in the audience and at home, we will be taking questions to ask the candidates as time allows. If you have a question relevant to all candidates, please text your question to 515-720-5305. For those in attendance in the room, that number will be periodically appearing on the projector screens around the room, and those viewing from home should similarly see a graphic appear occasionally with the contact information. Now to the candidates. The City Council has 4 total seats up for election. Tonight, we will feature candidates running for the 2 at-large seats and the candidates running for mayor. Ward 1 and Ward 3 both have candidates running unopposed and will not be featured tonight. In the at-large races, we have 4 total candidates running for 2 positions. The highest 2 vote getters will ultimately be the candidates elected to these seats. Incumbent Jeff Schneider, Tim Bradbury, Sue Cahill, and Scott McLean are the candidates running on the ballot in November. Running for mayor are 2 experienced city council members, currently serving as Ward 1 Representative Councilman Mike Lottehoff, and current at-large Representative Councilman Gary Thompson are joining us tonight. Each candidate will be provided with equal time to respond to each question. Again, a reminder to the candidates to please take note of the timer in front of you and remain respectful of each other's time this evening. We'll begin tonight with opening remarks from each candidate, and you will have 60 seconds, and we'll start here with Tim.
Good evening. Purpose I'm running is my theme has been common sense with purpose and pride. I first moved to Marshalltown in 1969. It seemed like it was a booming town, very well known, and I'd like to just get back involved a little bit. Why? To represent people tired of not getting questions answered, the road situations, the hospital services, the old hospital, attempts of the fire department to attempts to get them to run the ambulance service, the less jobs, affordable housing, what we need to do to help that, jobs that's left town, and there's no priority of the problem I see of jobs, people being hired, that there's a problem that they can hire online out of town, and that there's a problem with it's first come, first serve. I'd like to somehow work with the legislature to see if somehow that can change. That would help bring back community pride and community service, and I guess I got to stop.
We'll pass the mic down too. Thank you.
Thank you, and I want to welcome you all here tonight. Thank the Chamber and our media services who are helping to broadcast this. I'm Sue Cahill. I've lived in Marshalltown for 35 years, and I'm here to ask for your vote tonight. I ask that because I really believe in Marshalltown. I believe that we need to make our community so that people want to live here, people want to work here, people want to own businesses and hire people here, and people want to visit. I have served on the city council in the late in 2017 to 2020. And we have been on a good trajectory since then. While serving on the council, we went through a number of issues. The tornado, we built the police and fire station. The council worked to bring community together and our services together. Again, I feel that I have more to give to our community, and I thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Scott McLean, running for City Council. I think the reason why I'm running is I'm focused on the future of Marshalltown. And I think one of the things is not just for my future, but for our future generations. You know, I have 7 children, 7 grandchildren. Keep me extremely active, but I've lived here since 1984. I spent 32 years in the Iowa National Guard. I now work for the Iowa DOT, following my passion of emergency management. In my career, I've been helping cities, communities, counties respond, recover, and rebuild after their disasters. And I've seen firsthand what strong leadership, teamwork, and accountability can do. Marshalltown's come a long way. You know, we've been rebuilding and recovering from some pretty significant disasters. But now it's time to shift from that recovery process to finalize the rebuild and our growth forward. We need to focus on getting the basics right: safe streets, strong infrastructure. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Schneider, and I am running again to be your at-large representative because I want to continue the positive direction that Marshalltown's going in that was, I think, largely influenced by the last 4 years, but also previous city council. So I'm a lifelong resident. I want people to move here. We can't just do that focusing on one thing. We have to focus on all of the, the pillars of a strong community: the infrastructure, quality of life, all of the things that bring people to a town. Nobody moves to a town for one particular reason. We need continued economic development. We need more employers. We need the employers that are here to keep expanding. Over the last 4 years, like I've said, we've seen more building of housing. We've seen businesses expand. We've been working on the downtown project. I want to see that through to its completion. So, I'd love your vote. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's important, and for everyone who's watching. I'm Mike Lottehoff, and I'm running for the mayor of Marshalltown. I've been married for 44 years to my wife, Kim. I have an adult son in the back here, and I have a daughter who's just starting MCC here. I've spent 11 years on city council. The past 4 years, I've been your mayor pro tem, or assistant mayor. I am proud of Marshalltown. And more than that, I'm proud of the people in Marshalltown. Can you tell me another town that has gone through a tornado, a pandemic, a derecho, Legionnaire, and not only got up, but came up swinging? That's Marshalltown. That's who we are. Those are the types of people that I love to represent. We can do an awful lot of things in this town. We can do much more. As Jeff said, I am running so that we can keep the momentum going here in town. It's taken a long, hard 4 years to get it going, and now is not the time to stop. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Thompson, one of the at-large city councilors in my second term. The reason I'm running for mayor is I think that my varied work experience makes me well prepared. I don't want to turn you off, but I used to dig graves. I dug graves for 4 years, so I'm a ditch digger, and I've been in high management, had my own business, the UPS store here in Marshalltown, the UPS store in Ames, both highly successful, top stores in the nation. I think all that varied experience makes me a good candidate for mayor, and I'd love to have your vote. So thank you for being here, and everybody watching on TV too. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. We'll get to the first question, and Sue, this one will start with you. The position you are vying for is instrumental in determining the future direction of Marshalltown. You control what growth or improvements take place throughout our community, and so I'd like for you to share what your vision is for the future of Marshalltown and how do you propose we get there?
Thank you. Marshalltown, I think, has a great future. And as I said in my opening remarks, I really believe in Marshalltown, and I believe that we can get it done. In looking at where we are going, I have seen the last 4 years, we've had younger people on our council. I think part of what we need to do for our vision is, number one, make sure we're hearing our constituents and what their needs are. Make sure that we can prioritize what their needs are. But I still believe deep down that we need to make Marshalltown a good place to live, a good place to work, a good place to own a business, and a good place to visit. So we do have to look at all of those aspects. We can't put all of our money into roads. We have to prioritize and apportion it out so that Marshalltown becomes a destination for people to shop, to play, to live.
Same question.
Yep. We'll just run down the line.
So I think for my vision, I want to see Marshalltown become that strong, safe, self-sustaining community. To get there, we got to focus on some of our basics first, some of our infrastructure. And infrastructure isn't just a road. It's everything that's under that road, too. And we need to be cognizant and aware that that system's old and some of it's failing, and we've got to fix it and repair it. The other things I'm looking at, how do we bring business, companies, workforce into town? Some of that, maybe we achieve or shoot too far, too high. I think the right range is that 25 to 75 employee business. Those are the ones that I think we can go. The other piece is our amount of red tape to build a house in this town. There is so much red tape in our codes and our ordinances that we couldn't rebuild the houses that got taken out by the tornado based on sheer square footage. That's a problem.
Like I had said in my initial remarks, I'm going to continue the work that this council's been working on. The biggest project would be finishing the downtown. We've made too big of an investment to stop now or to turn back. So I want to continue with that project. I also want to bring amenities to town. The trail project, the Iowa River's Edge Trail, personal goal of mine is to get that done. A lot of the money has been raised through private dollars and grants, so not the citizens of Marshalltown's tax duty, but I want to get that done, but we'll take a partnership with the city. So I want to continue to be a strong ally for the trails in town. We have to do all of the things. We can't do any one thing. Streets, I know it's a very passionate topic amongst a bunch of people. It is for me as well. I do see, so we have some tailwinds right now we've been getting very good bids back on street projects. So I do think we should try to take advantage of that over the next few years. I know we have a bunch of projects in line with the Highland Acres Road project. We've been working with the state DOT. In a couple of years, we'll see 3rd Avenue done, but we should continue to work on all those as well.
My vision for Marshalltown is capitalize on what we can do and do well. Right now in Marshalltown, Alliant is going to double the size of their plant. That's going to bring 300 temporary jobs into Marshalltown. Emerson is hiring. Marshalltown Manufacturing is hiring. TIG is hiring. The refrigeration place off 18th Avenue is hiring. We have probably 300 to 400 jobs right now that are coming into Marshalltown or are here. That is a community that is growing. Now, you can look around at communities that are our size. They're hurting. Marshalltown is not, and that's because of what we put in place the last 4 years. And as we draw more people into Marshalltown, the amenities that we're putting in are not only good for people coming into town just to visit, but it's also for the people who live here. And that's the economic development that I like. Thank you.
I have a real simple vision for Marshalltown. I grew up here, I'm from here, moved away, came back to raise our kids. It's very simple. I want to live in the nicest, cleanest, and safest town of 27,000. It's that simple. And as your mayor, I want to work with the city council, whoever they may be, my friends here, and I want to take us forward, which like everybody said, we're moving the right direction Sometimes, we get a flat tire. Sometimes we're on the wrong road, but we are moving in the right direction. I want to continue that. And again, it's very simple. Who doesn't want to live in the nicest, cleanest, and safest town? And once we do that, the town will grow organically. We're not going to force, a big project or anything like that. Let's take care of the people that live here, the people that have chosen to live here. Let's honor their wishes and keep making the town move forward. Thank you.
Pass the mic down to Tim here.
For the future growth of Marshalltown, concerns is keeping it affordable, keeping our taxes in check. Remembering too that we got a lot of seniors in Marshalltown, and I've reached that age to know that our income doesn't grow very fast or easy. That it's usually the same, and that our taxes don't keep raising for projects that we have. That's maybe not totally necessary, but that needs to be maybe thought about more. And a city for all ages. One of the things was thinking about many houses. We need starter housing. Where could we, like trailer courts, but have places for like the mini homes? I know the governor talked about the prison makes the mini homes, but things like that to see if there's ways that we can have people be able to get out of the renting mode or something to help them get started and start their family. And just some ideas there.
Excellent. This next one we will start with you, Scott. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's latest statistics on commuting patterns, it shows that Marshalltown has just over 14,000 total jobs, and just over 8,000, or 57.9% of those jobs, are held by folks commuting into Marshalltown. For years, the Chamber has pushed and pursued community growth initiatives to attract those workers and their families into our community. How would you like to see the city partner with developers, businesses, and others to reduce this commuter rate?
So I think I've alluded to that earlier. Is we have a lot of red tape to build homes in Marshalltown. We have some square footage minimums. We have some things that I don't believe are sustainable to keep us building, to help us build. But we also aren't building affordable housing. The median income is $68,000 to $72,000. That doesn't support a $300,000 home. We've got to build, or find the developers that are willing to build the $150,000 to $200,000 home or the $175,000 home, so we can make housing affordable. The other thing we have to overcome is our shopping opportunity, our retail capabilities. They're going to commute because that's also where they do their retail.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question. I know a lot of people who do commute out of town for work. Some of them have some of the best jobs in Marshalltown. The people that are doing that commute have no problem affording a $300,000 house. We just need to get them to build it here. The reason why they're not is they see a quality of life opportunity in other communities. They all have to do that math themselves. It really hurts me because I love Marshalltown. I choose to be here. I want to be here. That's why we can't just focus on one thing like streets. We have good, I believe, public safety. It's going to come back to the trails again, but it's not just trails. It's opportunities to do things outside, projects to do with families, things like to do here at the library. So, we're lucky to have such a great library and great programming. But I know that's what people are looking for, especially young families. And so we can't just focus on the infrastructure. Of course, we will focus on the infrastructure, but we need to focus on other things as well to improve the quality of life. And that's what gets people to live here. And then businesses follow talented people. So the more people live here, the more businesses will get.
The city of Marshalltown right now has a study going, and we haven't seen it yet. It hasn't been done, but I'm expecting it to say that we need housing from the very low end to the very top end, all the way across the board. That's what happened with the last study, that we need that. So how do we do that? I do think that there are ideas like coming out of South Bend, Indiana. They do what's called a template lot. So you have a city lot sitting there empty, correct? You already have figured out, the city does, what kind of house can be built there, what it takes, where it situates, everything else. So that somebody with a high school degree and an hour of their own time can look at that and say, I can build that right there. That cuts 90% of the red tape right there. Here's your options that you can put on that. They're already preloaded. And I think that's a good idea to go, because the people making the money in housing right now, let's be really honest, they're building the top end houses. That's where the profit's at. There isn't profit in trying to build a $70,000, $80,000 house. So if we want lower housing options, we have to make it easier for people to be able to build their own home like they used to, using the templates where all the planning and zoning stuff, all the permits, all that kind of stuff, that if you go with this template, you're good to go. And I think that's worth a look at. Thank you.
You know, that's the $1 million question. How do we bring jobs to Marshalltown? Jobs will bring people. People move to towns for jobs, family, and retirement. I don't think there's a lot of people beating down our door to retire in this climate up here. A lot of talk is about housing opportunities, and that's why people don't live here. Of everybody up here, I'm the one person with a degree in housing from Iowa State. My degree's in the social aspects of housing. When I graduated from Iowa State, so if you want to talk about growing the town, getting housing, I would be the person to help you do that. Thank you.
One of the pet peeves I seen happen, asking some questions about it, is jobs. Why aren't they hiring locally? And when I found out they can just do it online, with my experience of some people that was hired in my area of work, that some was even coming all the way from Illinois driving every day. There's from other major cities. When they do that, then that leaves a lot of our local people without a job or being able to support the city or help Marshalltown grow. And I asked why. And they said there is no law that makes them prioritize hiring locally. And that really disturbed me. That just causes a lot more problems, or helps create more problems that people, if they can't get jobs, yet they're hiring out of town or wherever. I'd like to somehow see that changed.
It's good that we have job openings in our communities. It's good that we can draw people from throughout the state who want to come and work here. I think if we can provide incentives through the businesses that hire many of these people, and provide incentives to either add to their housing, or once they have moved into a home, lived in it for a certain amount of time, provide some community incentives just to inspire people to be in our community, to experience it more than just the lunch hour walk to the local restaurant, but to be a part of the community, the school system, the park systems, the infrastructure systems that we're working on, the shopping and the retail systems. So I think we need to think broadly about how can we provide some incentives that not only invite them to be here, but through their employers to invite them to stay here and sleep here as well.
All right. Since housing seemed to be brought up pretty consistently amongst everybody up here, I will jump to a housing question that I have. So housing affordability, variety, and reinvestment seem to be regular topic for businesses, community members, and city council candidates. The city council has made some very pointed efforts to address nuisance properties, to clean up existing properties that have and have recently undertaken a housing needs assessment in conjunction with the comprehensive plan. So what would you like to see for housing initiatives prioritized for our community, and how would you like to see any of these initiatives or programs funded? And I'm going to push for a little bit on specifics here because, Scott, you've mentioned red tape a couple of times, so I'm going to push for a little bit of specifics here on this one, but we'll start with you, Jeff.
Sure. So in the last 4 years, we have done a number of things. The housing incentive for building new houses is $10,000. It doesn't seem like it goes a long way, but every little bit helps. Continue to support those efforts. We have infill houses I think Mike brought up a good point about templating out plans that are pre-approved, remove all the red tape that way. Something we've just kind of discussed, but we haven't really done anything on. It'd be nice to somehow figure out how to recruit good builders to come to town as well. It seems like there's a limited pool. I don't have all the answers on how to do that. Construction prices are another issue that we don't have a whole lot of control over. The downtown redevelopment we're working on, upper story housing, we've had a lot of success there. I think we continue that way to have more units come online. So, people, it's tough to get people to invest in a community that they don't think is going in the right direction, and that's why we need to keep up the positive energy on the city council. So that's why I'm running.
Since being on city council the last 5 years, I think we've done well for housing, especially affordable housing. If you look at the apartments that are built just on the back side of the maid right there, JBS assisted a contractor, and I believe there's 200 units back behind Olive Street there to the south. We've got over here on Olive Street, those new condos going in. So we do have a variety of things going on. But the creative things the city council and myself have really championed is the upper story housing in downtown that Jeff brought up. Because putting in the fire plugs for all of them so that maybe they don't have second, third store housing. All right. But they do have the plug there that if they ever decide to, that's a horrible expense for them to incur just to be able to put those up above. That's available now to them. So when they decide to sprinkle their buildings, which you have to do for second and third floor housing, it's there and it's available. Other than that, I really like the template idea. I think that helps.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Out of time. I got to let you finish your thought, and then I'll cut you off. So
He was on a roll. He's making good points. He was. So housing's a tough thing. We've got to work with the builders. And everybody up here said the same thing. I specifically want to start building affordable starter homes that like we had back when I was a little kid, that you didn't have to have the garage built right away. Your friends can come over some week and put the garage on it. Keep the starting price low. Build that 700 square foot home. And, and things have changed over my lifetime. People used to add on to their homes. Now they just move. Okay, so let's get back to getting these starter homes. A third of our housing units in Marshalltown are rentals. We've got to get affordable housing to break that rental cycle. But everybody else up here is right. We need to build all phases of houses because you're going to keep having people move up, bigger families and things like that. So it's us, the mayor, the city council. It's sitting down with developers and figuring out how we can make this happen. Thank you.
I don't have the answers for that, except I would like to see a commission or a group of all business and people, banks, everybody that's involved, and see what our problems are and where we can try to help that situation or make it so people can't afford it. What can we do? What's the problems that's stopping it, and go from there.
I wish I had the answers to this question as well. And it's one that's been with us for a long time. Since I was back on the council in 2017, we did the housing studies, the very same type of things. But I think we are moving in the right direction because I've seen the addition of many pieces of housing in those last 8 years. One of the things that I think we have started to put some emphasis in is in senior housing. We know people my age, a lot of the people in this room, we're looking at our homes that have big stairways and say, hey, I really need something all on one level. My knees just don't do it like they used to. I know that we've done senior housing over behind Wolf Clinic or the Maid-Right. Senior housing, there's senior housing downtown in a couple of spots. I think that if we could incentivize some of those areas to provide options for seniors, then they're going to be selling their ranch houses that are in the communities where the kids are playing and going to school.
So I think, you kind of hit on some of the red tape and some of the problems in there. And I think a couple things are missing is starter homes. I sit down and I look at the real estate listings, and there's not a lot of starter homes, starter family homes, right? And affordability. I'll go back to the median income, $68,000. If we want starter homes, we got to come in a little bit, where that's an affordable option for them. My friend Gary down there, he hit it on the head. We have an abnormally high rental rate, but I will get into the red tape. We have a tiny house section in our code. We should be able to develop 3 or 4 tiny houses on a parcel of land. Because of the code, I can only put 2. And it's an exorbitant amount of land space still available and usable for additional tiny homes. And it's becoming a thing.
All right, thank you. I can't do a candidate forum without asking a question about TIF and the largest TIF deal that we've had in this year, and largest private investment that we've got happening right now is the mall redevelopment. So, I know the Times Republican candidate questionnaire had a question about this, and featured questions regarding the use of TIF for revitalization of the mall property. 2 of the at-large candidates indicated they supported it. One was against it. One was kind of seemed to proceed with caution, but kind of non-committal on how they might vote. Similarly, one mayoral candidate was emphatically supportive of the agreement, and one was against it. I would ask each of you to kind of explain in a little bit more detail on your position on this project and the use of TIF to attract that development.
This was a very easy question for me to vote. I've had an awful lot harder votes than this one. Absolutely. We had a mall that was dead for 8 to 10 years. It was an eyesore. John and the chamber found someone willing to invest $36 million in there and bring new stores. TIF, the way it works is a base is set. It goes 20 years normally, or 10 years or 5 years, and you only get the base amount in tax revenue until that's done. What this TIF did was it stair steps up, so the city reclaims more and more of that tax money as it goes. The money that goes to the developer goes back into the project and helps him finish and make that project whole. Nothing comes out of the city budget. Nothing. Okay? It's nothing but a win for us, and it's a win for Marshalltown. And so my daughter and her friend Aaliyah back there can quit driving to Ames to buy stuff that they cannot find here in Marshalltown. Thank you. Go ahead, pick on my daughter.
No, I'm not going to. I shop at Ames too sometimes. Disclosure. I voted no against it. And the biggest issue is TIF should be used as an incentive to attract development. Okay, this one was done backwards. And the reserve development from Dallas, Texas, they'd already purchased the mall. They already had a plan in place. They already had supposedly some people contacted to be there. And then after the fact, we rewarded them with a $7.25 million abatement. And I was okay with that if we would have just called it what it was. But creating a TIF plan, it was not an incentive. It was a reward for them buying it. And the other thing is, if you do the math, everybody says we're going to make it back in local option sales tax, but no one's shown me that worksheet that it works out that we're going to make the $7 million back. The other problem is, it is, like Mike said, it's a stair step, but it's front loaded. Okay, if these people were really committed to our community, maybe it should have been a higher percentages at the end of the 20 years, not at the beginning of the 20 years.
I'm against it The reason is if it can't stand on its own, then it shouldn't be here. Malls seem to go in 20-year cycles or 30 years, whatever. It doesn't seem like they're long term. Another thing, it's not taken out of the taxes, but it's not putting in. And when our city's hurting for tax income, it's still being put too much on us seniors and all of us local people. We need to find ways to fix our tax problem and not just leave it stalemate, because we still got services to provide. And I just, unless it's an incentive to get them a new business here, I just can't see it going to the mall for something like that.
Thank you. When we first moved to town, we always learned we had small kids. You go to the mall to walk them around in the wintertime. It was a vital part of our lives. I support the TIF that was provided for the mall because an empty building provides us zero in tax revenue. A full mall, yes, the developers will have the TIF abatements or whatever we're calling them, the incentives for the next 20 years. But their stores are going to benefit. When people come to town to shop, they are going to stop at Quick Star and pick up for gas. They are going to stop at Pizza Ranch and have dinner. We are going to benefit in ways that are not directly related to that tax benefit through the TIF. We need to look at the big picture. I think this was a good move for the community.
I'm a little torn on TIF, and I think part of my concern is I have seen good TIFs and I have seen bad TIFs. And I think this one has some good qualities in it. The question is are we going to enforce it? You know, there are certain requirements that are placed on that TIF. They have to meet that. If they don't meet it, it needs to go. But TIF is great to bring development to us, help us. Really, in the housing area, TIF would work awesome because then the builder's going to build the road, right? Meeting the required standard. So I think it can be capitalized correctly. But we also have to enforce. There's some enforcements that need to happen. There's some requirements that have to happen. They shouldn't just get free money and not meet the requirement. You know, I'm going to bring 50 jobs. We're going to give you TIF. And then all of a sudden they only bring 20 jobs. That's a problem.
Like I'd said in the paper, this is one of the easiest votes I'd had on council to support this. Yes, the developer did own the property ahead of time. Had we not done this, it would not have been redeveloped to the same level it's going to be. I also think that they coming here knew that a TIF deal was possible, so that was part of the equation of them actually purchasing the property. The taxpayer of Marshalltown is paying nothing for this. It's the tax increment that the developer who's going to pay their property taxes is paid back. The deal is structured in such a way that there is no losing. There are certain measures that they have to meet in order to get their payments. So that was very easy. I think TIF is a great tool to attract new development, and I will continue to use it.
All right, now to another big empty building, the former Unity Point hospital site. This has been a pretty hot topic and has, picked up some steam again locally, particularly on the backs of the news of it heading to sheriff's auction. So, given the unacceptable state of the property, can you share what steps you would like to see the city take to remediate this eyesore and ultimately achieve a positive redevelopment of the overall site?
Thanks, John.
You probably look at it more than anybody.
I know. I wish I didn't have to, but I live. What he's saying is I live the closest to the hospital, the old hospital. Everybody's going to give you the same answer, okay? In my prediction is it will cost us more in incentives if somebody comes along and takes it the way it is now. As bad as it is, you're going to own it one way or another. You're going to tear it down. You're going to remediate the poison in the soil. We're going to have a flat 2-block area, and we can offer it to a developer. And that will be less expensive than someone coming in and then tearing it down and getting incentives. This is just the elephant in the room, so to speak, and it's not a good thing. And I wish I had better news for you, but one way or another, the taxpayers are going to own that property.
I'd like to know why the former owners aren't responsible for it. Usually when a house or building is condemned, if they don't take care of it, the city comes after them and charges them for it. And I don't have all the answers for it, but why in the first place was it sold? And why did Unity or the hospital go out where they did? Was this an intentional thing to dump the place on the city, or for whoever to make us take it over? And I don't feel that's right. That I just don't feel that the city should be taking that over. It should be the ones that are responsible for that happening.
Thank you. Many of you know that my husband brought us to town to work at the hospital back in 1990. So that hospital has a special place in my heart. Several of my kids worked there. We had operations there. 2 were born there. John died there. So it is still a place very near in my heart. As with the mall, empty buildings bring us nothing. That facility is right at the cusp of our downtown area that we are working to revitalize. As Tim said, yes, however it came about that the current owner is not taking responsibility for it, whether he's in bankruptcy or whatever the cause is, I don't want us all to have to look at that empty spot, that decrepit building for the rest of our lives, which it could be. We need to take the action and move it in a more positive direction so that we can bring developers so that we can do it right. Again, an empty, decrepit building is nothing to us.
Gary's right. We're going to wind up owning it, and that's the way it's going to happen. But what do we do with it after the fact? And I tell you, with asbestos and the contamination and the remediation, it's going to cost a chunk. But I think if we, as owners of it, though, we have to identify a very clear, concise plan to move it forward. It can't be a hodgepodge plan. It can't be thrown together tomorrow or just on a whim. It has to be a very directed, a very controlled and methodical plan. What are we going to do with that? And how do we use it to enhance our downtown? How do we use it to enhance our community? And I think if we put the right pieces in place, it can become something worthy of having. But, the writing's on the wall. We're going to own it. Now we've got to be smart about how we move forward with it.
Yeah, as a lot of the people have said here, that there's no getting around it. The taxpayers are going to own the hospital property. There are tools available to a city to help remediate properties like this, and we'll use those to hopefully save the taxpayer some money. But, once we acquire ownership, however that comes about, we'll have to do a little bit of work, see if there's any parts of the structure that are worth salvaging for potential use some other way. See if we can find a miracle investor, but chances are we're just going to end up raising it and have to redevelop the property. So it's just the way it is.
I believe the city should aggressively go after that property. We're done fooling around, okay? It's looked bad. That owner, we find him, we've cited him, we've done everything. He just doesn't respond. He doesn't pay anything. What else can we do to him? So I think the city, through 657A, which is Iowa code, take the property, which is abandoned property. That's what we take our other properties with, or possibly by sheriff's sale, whatever works out best for us. Not look it over, see if a developer is interested in part of it, and if not, knock the darn thing down, clean it up, and then market it. It is very prime real estate. It'll go quick, but nobody wants it the way it is. Let's go get it.
All right, we'll come back to Tim for the start of this next question. So we've talked a lot about roads. We've had multiple texts in about roads, and we'll give this a whirl on the road conversation. So in Region 6's fiscal year 2024 through 2027 Transportation Improvement Program, the estimated cost per mile of resurfacing inside city limits is roughly $490,000 per mile. With over 300 lane miles, 40 miles of alleyways, and 19 bridges, how do you propose the city balance existing roadway maintenance and replacement efforts? And then how do you balance these priorities with other community expectations for services, including fire, police, community amenities, parks and recreation, library services, etc.?
I would like to know, where's our fuel tax money gone? That was supposed to take care of the roads. We haven't touched the roads, I don't believe, for over 3-4 years or more. You can't do it all at once. And if I heard right, they wanted to have a big bond to cover that expense. But I'd like to go back to how much fuel tax money is out there or that we're collecting. Is it going in the general fund? Is it going to the new roads in downtown they did, and the road by JBS was 30-some million, and some other designated areas, but not one road was touched the last 3 or 4 years? Is it because we don't have contractors to do it? What is our problem? Why? I'd like to know, and people aren't getting the answers, and people want to know. Fuel tax was supposed to cover the road issue. It used to cover it. What happened?
Quickly before we go on, clarification on the Edgewood Road extension, because you indicated 30 million is what you believe that cost was?
I believe it's over that.
I don't believe so. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but that sounds astronomical for, and I'm looking down at some of our council members who I know voted on the Edgewood Road extension.
I could be wrong. I'm going by memory because I wasn't involved with that. I know that was a real big expense, but was that used from our fuel tax money, or I don't believe that was just from grants. And if so, again, if it was gone to that, how come you don't open up with the people when they're asking questions and you keep ignoring everybody about the road situation, whether we got it sitting somewhere aside, what happened to it, or is it still there waiting for somebody to use it? I want to know, and people want to know. Give us an answer.
Tim brings up some good questions, and I admit I do not know the answers to those either. I do think that we need to, with our citizens, listen and prioritize what our needs are. As Tim said, we can't do them all at once, or all we're going to hear is nobody can get around town because every road is closed. And right now it's closed right in front of where I live. And so I heard it from everybody at coffee yesterday about how are we going to get back to downtown or at all. And so I do agree that we have to prioritize what we're going to do, put out a transparent plan on where the money is, what the money will be used for, how it will be distributed, what parts of it come from the state for Highway 14 or part of Highland Acres Roads, which is Park County. So we have to look at that, listen to our people, prioritize, and then make a transparent plan and carry it out.
So I'll start off first by saying the grind resurface, even though it's probably an average, John, is actually, the real total is about $750,000 per mile. Unfortunately, we have a lot of roads in our town that don't have the proper foundations under them. They went and grind an inch and they find the rock. So there's not even enough asphalt left to fix it. So we're looking at $1 million per mile. How do we do that? How do we get there? DOT grants, federal grants. Some of it is cost share with us. You know, we apply for those rigorously, hard, continuous applications for them, but we set the stage to allow us to be awarded those grant monies. But the other piece of that is putting our spending in the right priority. We've built a lot of amenities it's time to focus on our road structure, our infrastructure, the things we need.
We have been spending a lot on roads. It just happens to have been concentrated downtown in our most expensive roads. We do have 2 projects underway or nearing underway with the concrete patch repair, excuse me, and then asphalt repairs on certain roads. To me, the whole way that we improve our roads in Marshalltown is moderation. Every year we need to keep increasing the average condition. And that doesn't mean we replace all the roads at the same time. We can't. It's honestly, it's way too much money. We're going to have to use some of our bonding capacity. And like I said in I believe my opening remarks, we have been seeing favorable bids compared to engineers' estimates. So I think now is the time to spend some of that money and get it done. But we do have some constraints, with the amount of construction projects we can do at any one point in time too. But, so yeah, bonding, and we'll just get some more roads built. That's all we can do.
Just so everyone knows, our city staff is buried with work on Main Street, Center Street. We've got the Center Street Bridge coming up. So what I'm proposing is putting together a steering committee of citizens. And I can see a couple people right here, right now, that would do a pretty good job on it. With their job, we'll probably add 1 or 2 city council people. Then what we'll do is hire a project manager. We do that before. That project manager will be directed to sit and work with the people on identifying what roads are the worst, what's our best bang for the buck, where we can do that at. So how do we pay for that? Right now, we can take money out of road use tax, RUT, and we do have some bonds that were allocated, I believe, in 2022 and 2023 that we can put toward it and put together a pool of money that's $10 million. So we take the project manager and that crew, they put together a plan, they bring it to city council, the city council passes it, that project manager then takes it out for bid and follows the projects through. Now, that's not going to cost you a dime. We have the money to do it right now. We don't have the interior people at City Hall to be able to do it. That's why we hire the project manager. We hired a project manager for the Aquatic Center when we built that. He came back in. We came in on time and under budget by 10%. Okay? We might be able to go north
Mike,
of
I'm gonna
10,
have to
10, but let's just figure 10 million. And let's get some roads fixed, huh?
Hey, I'm going to defend the previous council and administration. You have to understand that we're coming off the perfect storm. We had the pandemic. We couldn't get contractors. We've had high-level positions open, city administrator, some other positions. And then I'd like to say, Heather Thomas, our Public Works Director, would you like to finish my time and take this? So, no. She's shaking her head no. Okay. We have a pavement condition index we have on file right now. It's not that old. Streets haven't changed that much. And trust me, this issue is getting so much discussion and it's so passionate. Whoever your next council is, whoever your next mayor is, we will start fixing roads, be it full surface, grading, or if it's just mill and overlay. It's going to happen because we're starting to get the staff back in place. We still need to give Heather some help in engineering, but we have a plan. We will, like Mike said, there'll be a plan. We will get it done.
All right. Well, we have time for closing remarks. We're at the end of our hour. I've got, a dozen more questions up here that I would have loved to ask, but it's product of trying to make everybody's schedules work and bring everybody together. But do want to give everybody an opportunity for closing remarks and to say any final statements before we wrap things up. And so I believe Sue, I think we're starting with you.
Thank you. Again, thank you to John and the Chamber for hosting this and our media people for putting this on for people to share. Again, I'm here, I'm asking for your vote as an at-large member of the City Council. I've been an active part of Marshalltown since we moved here 35 years ago. I've represented parts of the city on the City Council. I represented all the city for 4 years at the State House. I think one of the biggest experiences I bring is I've seen how at the State House, they manage some of the different grants, the different opportunities, and work with counties and cities and school districts. And with that knowledge and some connections there to be able to better understand how we can access money from those areas and how we can put them to our advantage in the city. Again, I said, I believe in Marshalltown and I believe in our people and that it will take some positive attitude for us to move ahead, but I encourage that. Again, I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I want to say thanks for everybody here and for everybody watching at home and for the opportunity to get our word out. But, you know, Marshalltown is a city with a great big heart. We always have been. We have a wealth of history and a future worth protecting. You know, I'm running to represent the people sitting here in the room looking at me, the people at home watching. I think together we can make smart choices. We can move forward. We can strengthen our infrastructure. We can really support our businesses and grow our businesses. Keep our city financially strong. Not let us get wormed into the hole where we have been in the past. You know, we're moving forward. We always have been. But I think for us to go forward, we got to have some common sense, some accountability, and a focusing on the future of Marshalltown. Not just for me, not just for you watching, but for your children and your grandchildren.
I'm proud of my past 4 years on city council. I'm proud of my voting record. Like I said earlier, I want to continue the momentum we've built. I want to reap what we've sown and continue to sow good seeds. I want everybody to love Marshalltown as much as me, have as much pride in our community, and know that there's a bright future. And I think with strong, decisive leadership on the council, more people will come to love and call Marshalltown home.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here. What you've heard from me are ideas and plans, not talk. I love this town deeply. I think that we have some of the best, most honest people here. We can be argumentative, but doggone it, we're a good bunch. I've been incredibly proud to represent Marshalltown when I was at large for 6 years and for Ward 1 for 5 years. And I've been honored to have been your mayor pro tem for the past 4 years when Joel's been away. It's a job that I have grown to kind of like, and I am asking for your vote to be your next mayor. Thank you.
Like everybody else, I appreciate this. I love stuff like this. And that's what I can bring to the table is I don't get hung up in the messenger. I listen to the message. I will listen to each and every one of you. And what I want from you in return is let's keep the people here in town that grow up here. Let's find jobs. Let's find housing. Let's find opportunities. I have 2 children. I couldn't keep them here. And I'm going to blame it on the town, not on me, of course. So, because they're great kids. But let's continue the direction we're going. Let's just keep pushing for better and better and better. I would love to have your vote. I will work hard. I will do your job for you. I will listen to each and every one of you. And let's just make Marshalltown the greatest, cleanest, nicest, and safest city there is. Thank you.
I'll ask that people please refrain until everybody is done. Tim, you get the last word on this.
I'm not no pro at this, but I just want to see people have a choice. And basically to just use common sense, bring some pride back with a purpose. Marshalltown has had a lot of rich history from the early years, looking back from Billy Sunday and Anson and a bunch of other big names that when we moved here back in '68, Marshalltown was really well known and well respected. If there's any way that I can ask more questions, help businesses support local community groups like the JCs and Kiwanis and different ones that really used to be involved and help bring community pride back. Any way to just, when people have questions, find out how we can get answers for what their questions are. And just be a simple person. And that's all I want. Just be involved and give back to the community what I've gotten from over the years, what's happened to me.
All right. Well, thank you all. And if you would all join me in thanking the candidates for being here this evening. Final thank you to the library and to KFJB for assisting us in this evening. Reminder that the election is coming up on Tuesday, November 4th, and make sure to get out and vote. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.